Hey Greg, what are the challenges this week of not knowing which quarterback the Ravens are going to use?
I wouldn't say it's too much of a challenge. I feel like, their quarterbacks all kind of, do around the same thing. Like they're not gonna really change the offense, as much as we've seen in the past. We played them last year where they didn't have Lamar and kind of kept the offense, pretty similar. So I wouldn't say it's, too big of a challenge. At the end of the day, we just gotta, whatever the game plan is, do our job and, try to be as successful as we can.
Thank you, Jeff. Mary Kay Cabot is next.
Yeah, Greg, what can you do to kind of, dig deep and try to find, the kind of game that you would play if you guys were still going out and trying to make the playoffs? I mean, how do you approach this game from the mindset of knowing that even if you guys win out, you might still not make the postseason?
Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, as competitors, you always want to win. And, you're just trying to go one game at a time and get a win. No matter what, like I said, our goal is to win out. And, after that, we'll see what happens. But, we got to take it one day at a time, one game at a time. And, we're going to approach it as such.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick, you're up.
Hey, Greg. So have you been able to watch much on that Brown who could be quarterbacking for the Ravens? Have you gone back and looked at any college stuff or anything?
No, I haven't.
And then when you look at them, obviously, no matter who plays quarterback, they run the ball a bunch. Just how tough is that, especially with Dobbins coming back and playing like he did last week?
It's always tough. They're a great running team, as you know. It's going to be a little bit different with Lamar not being out there, that extra run threat of him. So that'll be a little bit better. But, at the end of the day, like I said, we got to be gap sound. He's got to be physical. The game is going to be won, in the trenches this week. So we're going to have to just be a very physical team this week.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Dan Lobby, go ahead.
Hey, Greg, when you looked back at that game on Sunday, what was it that allowed Joe and Jamar to have so much success against you guys?
I really couldn't tell you too much, honestly. There's just always on the same page a lot. Found some openings out there, but, that's pretty much what I've seen.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Mary Kay Cabot, go ahead.
Yeah, Greg, just in terms of you guys as a defense, you didn't necessarily have the kind of season that you wanted to have, but in these last 4 games, do you guys feel like you have a lot to prove to go out and show that you can be that dominant defense that everybody expected you guys to be this season?
Sure. I think the last 3 weeks we've honestly been playing, great on the defensive side of the ball. So that's just something we're just gonna, keep trying to continue. And it's like a pride thing. Like at the end of the day, you don't, if they don't score, we'll win. So we're definitely just gonna try to keep on, improving and, just keep trying to put our best foot forward to, give our team the, opportunity to come out with a win.
And when like a Myles Garrett says, there's no way I'm shutting this down, even though he's got the shoulder injury, what message does that send to the rest of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows, that he cares about the team. It just shows that, we're in a never give up mentality. Like we're going to give it our all every single game. We're fighters out here. No one's in the building is, moping around or, giving up. We're still going to go out there, play our hearts out and, see what can happen at the end of the season.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. We'll go to Ashley Bassar.
Hey, Greg, I mean, just with the question of you guys not knowing who's playing quarterback for them on Saturday, I know you guys did see Huntley last year, so I guess just what you remember about him in that game here.
Great runner. He was an amazing runner. He was hard to bring down. He didn't really miss. It wasn't too much of a difference, I would say, like from him and Lamar running the ball wise. Like he did a great job running the ball last year. So that was something that, we kind of got to prepare for a little bit more. I think he didn't throw as much as Lamar did. I think they tailored it more to the run when he was playing, but he was great, getting out of the pocket and things like that.
Thanks, Ashley. We'll go back to Scott Petrick.
Hey, Greg, I think JOK might miss a game or two with that, or we're going to get an update later, and he might have to miss some time with that injury. So just what kind of loss would that be, especially given how many injuries you've already had at linebacker?
I mean, obviously losing JOK is tough. You know, he's one of the best players on the defense. He brings a bunch of energy. Tackling machine out there. So I mean, there's no replacing a guy like that either. So if he's out, it's definitely going to be tough. But hopefully, whatever it is not anything too serious. But yeah, if he's out, we're definitely going to miss him.
And when you look at that Burrow Chase connection, like if you guys doubled more, would that have helped Sunday? Is that something you guys have talked about?
We kind of really didn't. I mean, obviously we didn't have meetings yet, so we weren't able to review it. But there's definitely obviously ways that we probably could have took them, away a little bit better, especially with 80 with Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins being out. There's probably definitely some ways where we could have minimized some of them games. But obviously that game's over, so we got to focus on the next one. But in the future, I think there probably would have been some ways that we could have taken them away a little bit better.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Dan Lobby's next.
Yeah, sort of piggybacking off of Scott's question. I guess this is just sort of the nature of the position. But when a guy like Jamar has a game like that, sometimes some criticism will turn towards Denzel Ward. How have you seen him handle some of that? And when you hear people kind of criticize him, what do you think?
At the end of the day, we don't. Outside noise is something we really don't care about too much. There's little things that we always all can fix, but he handles criticism well. As a DB, we all get criticized. Like I can have had a great game, and someone's out there going to be like, "Oh, he could have made this play or did something like that." So, that's always going to happen. Obviously, he's one of the highest paid corners in the league for a reason. And to be shouted on a guy like that the whole game is tough, especially in some of the positions he was put in. So some of that stuff is tough, but he's going to handle it well. He always has, he always will, and he's one of the best. So he'll be okay. Criticism is something that we're used to, no matter if you do well or bad.